to the Startup Funding Espresso. I'm Hall T. Martin, where we talk about how to raise funding and invest in startups and the time it takes to drink an espresso. If you have a question about startup funding or investing, please go to the website, startupfundingespresso.com, and type in your question into the chat bot in the lower right corner to receive an answer. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, this is Hall T. Martin with the Startup Funding Espresso, your daily shot at startup funding and investing. Closing the fundraise can sometimes be a challenge. In down markets and uncertain economic conditions, investors hesitate to commit. Consider incentives for investors to move the fundraise to a close. Here are some key incentives. Offer advisor shares to investors who invest above a certain amount. This gives the investor additional shares in return for their support. Negotiate the value of the advisor shares based on the work the investor will provide. Offer warrants to investors who invest within a certain time period. Warrants give the holder the right to buy additional shares. Finally, consider adding preferences to the term sheet for investors who come into the round. Preferences give the investor dividends, which in most cases will be accruing rather than paying out, and put a deadline on the incentives to move the investors to action. Consider a deadline in the 1 to 2 month range. Consider these incentives to close investors to finish the round. Thank you for joining us for the Startup Funding Espresso, where we help startups and investors connect for funding. Let's go start us into today. Hall T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.